Your champion was once a contender who refused to give up. Winning doesn't start in the arena. It starts in your mind, your habits, and how you attack each day. To win in life, you must first win the day. Mastering your morning, the foundation of winning the day. The way you start your morning determines the trajectory of your entire day. If you wake up rushed, distracted, or reactive, you're already playing catch up, letting external forces dictate your energy, focus, and mindset. But when you take control of your morning, you take control of your life. This isn't just motivational fluff. It's a principle practiced by high achievers across every field. Olympic athletes, CEOs, artists, and world changers don't leave their mornings to chance. They design them with intention because they understand that the first hours after waking set the tone for everything that follows. Think about it. When you wake up and immediately grab your phone, what happens? You're bombarded with emails, social media updates, news, other people's agendas. Before you've even had a chance to think for yourself, you've handed over your mental real estate to the outside world. Instead of starting the day with clarity, you start with clutter. But when you reverse that, when you protect those first precious moments for yourself, you create a foundation of strength, focus, and purpose. So what does a winning morning look like? It begins the night before. You can't expect to jump out of bed energized if you went to sleep late, scrolling on your phone until your eyes burn. High performers prioritize sleep because they know rest isn't a luxury, it's fuel. When you're well rested, your willpower, creativity, and decision-making are sharper. The first step to mastering your morning is respecting your sleep. Then, when that alarm goes off, you don't hit snooze. Snoozing trains your brain to resist discipline, to choose comfort over growth. Instead, you rise immediately. You might not feel like it at first, but that's the point. Winning the day starts with winning the battle against your own excuses. The moment your feet hit the floor, you've already claimed your first victory. From there, it's about filling your morning with activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. For some, that means meditation or prayer, quieting the noise and connecting with something greater than themselves. For others, it's movement, stretching, running, lifting weights. Exercise doesn't strengthen your body, it sharpens your mind and floods your system with endorphins, setting a positive tone for the day. Then there's feeding your mind. Reading even just 10 pages of a book, listening to a motivational speech, or reciting affirmations programs your subconscious for success. Words have power. The things you tell yourself in those early hours shape your beliefs, your confidence, and your accident. Eric Thomas didn't become E.T. by accident. He conditioned his mind with relentless positivity, self-belief, and hunger. And let's not forget gratitude. Taking just a minute to reflect on what you're thankful for shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Instead of waking up thinking about what you lack, you focus on what you have, and that energy carries you forward. A winning morning also includes planning. Before the chaos of the day begins, take 5 minutes to review your goals and priorities. What are the top 3 things you must accomplish today to feel like you've won? Write them down. This simple act programs your brain to focus on what matters, cutting through the noise of trivial tasks. But here's the hard truth. None of this works if you don't protect your morning time. That means setting boundaries, saying no to late night distractions, waking up before the rest of the world demands your attention, and guarding those early hours like a soldier guards their post. You wouldn't let someone barge into your home uninvited, so why let distractions invade this sacred space of your morning? Of course, there will be days when you slip up. Maybe you stayed up too late or the alarm felt heavier than usual. That's okay. Winning the day isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. The key is to never let a bad morning turn into a bad day. Reset, refocus, and reclaim the next moment. Ultimately, mastering your morning is about respect. Respect for your time, your potential, and your future self. Every day is a gift, and how you start it determines whether you'll spend it reacting to life or commanding it. When you win the morning, you position yourself to win the day. And when you stack enough winning days together, you create a winning life. So tomorrow when that alarm sounds, remember, the choice you make in that moment to rise or to retreat is a microcosm of every choice that follows. Win that moment, and you've already begun to win the day. Success is rarely the result of one grand sweeping gesture. It's built through the accumulation of small deliberate actions repeated over time. The myth of overnight success is just that, a myth. Behind every sudden breakthrough are countless hours of unseen effort, discipline, and incremental progress. This is why focusing on small wins is so transformative. When you shift your mindset from chasing instant results to embracing daily progress, you unlock sustainable growth. The compound effect of consistency outperforms short bursts of intensity every time. Consider the analogy of weight loss. No one loses 50 pounds in a single day. Instead, they lose 1 pound 50 times. Each pound may seem insignificant in isolation, but together they create dramatic change. The same principle applies to mastering a skill, building a business, or improving relationships. Small, consistent efforts, when applied with patience and persistence, lead to extraordinary outcomes. The key is to trust the process even when the results aren't immediately visible. Many people fail because they expect linear progress. They believe effort should always yield visible, proportional rewards. But growth is often non-linear. There are plateaus, setbacks, and periods where it feels like nothing is happening. This is where most people quit. They mistake the plateau for failure when in reality it's part of the journey. The people who succeed are the ones who keep showing up, even when motivation fades. They understand that small wins, stacked over time, create unstoppable momentum. How do you apply this in daily life? Start by breaking big goals into micro action. If you want to write a book, don't fixate on the 300-page masterpiece. Focus on writing 1 page a day. At that pace, you'll have a draft in less than a year. If you want to get fit, don't obsess over running a marathon tomorrow. Commit to a 10-minute walk today. These small actions may seem trivial, but they do 2 critical things. They reduce resistance and build habit strength. The smaller the action, the easier it is to start. And starting is often the hardest part. Another crucial aspect of small wins is measurement. What gets measured gets managed. Tracking your progress, whether through a journal, an app, or a simple checklist, creates accountability and reinforces momentum. Each check mark is a small win, a reminder that you're moving forward. Over time, these check marks add up to undeniable proof of your progress. Even on days when you feel stuck, looking back at your track wins can reignite your motivation. It's also important to celebrate small wins along the way. Society conditions us to delay gratification until we reach some distant finish line. But this mindset is flawed. The point is to maintain the habit, even at a reduced capacity. Skipping entirely breaks the chain of consistency, while doing a small amount keeps the momentum alive. Another trap to avoid is comparing your small wins to someone else's highlight reel. Social media amplifies this distortion, making it seem like everyone else is achieving greatness effortlessly, but you're seeing their peaks, not their daily grind. Theodore Roosevelt famously said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Stay focused on your own path, your own progress, and your own small wins. The beauty of small wins is that you don't need extraordinary talent, resources, or luck. Just the willingness to show up consistently. Over time, these small efforts compound into something extraordinary. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and moves slowly. But with each revolution, it gathers more snow and momentum until it becomes an unstoppable force. Your habits work the same way. Finally, remember that small wins build confidence. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you strengthen your self-trust. You prove that you're capable of growth even in tiny increments. This confidence then fuels bigger actions. What starts as a 10-minute walk evolves into a 5K, then a 10K, then a marathon. The person who couldn't run a mile becomes someone who can't imagine life without running. In a world obsessed with instant results, the discipline of small wins is a superpower. It's the quiet, steady force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. So instead of asking, how can I achieve my goal as fast as possible? Ask, what small step can I take today? Trust the process, celebrate the little victories, and let time work its magic. The day will come when you look back and realize those small wins were the building blocks of your success. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but it continues with thousands more. Keep taking them. Talent is overrated. It might get you noticed, but it won't keep you at the top. The world is full of naturally gifted people who never reached their potential because they relied on ability alone, while others with less innate talent surpassed them through sheer work ethic. This isn't just an observation. It's a pattern seen across every competitive field. The difference between good and great isn't genetics or luck. It's the willingness to outwork everyone, including yourself. Behind their achievements. Think about the most successful people you admire, sacrifice, and perseverance. Kobe Bryant didn't become an NBA legend by coasting on talent. He was infamous for his Mamba mentality, training before sunrise and long after his teammates left. J.K. Rowling didn't write Harry Potter in one inspired burst. She worked on it relentlessly, even through rejection and poverty. Eric Thomas didn't go from homelessness to motivational icon by waiting for opportunities. He created them through hustle. The common thread? They all understood that potential means nothing without the work to unlock it. This raises a critical question. Are you working as hard as you could be, or are you settling for good enough? Most people operate at about 40% of their true capacity. They do what's required, maybe even a little extra, but they stop when things get uncomfortable. That's why the bar for success is lower than you think. Simply by pushing beyond average effort, you can surpass the majority. But to reach exceptional, you must embrace discomfort as your new normal. The concept of outworking isn't just about logging more hours. It's about maximizing the quality of those hours. Two people can spend the same amount of time on a task, but one achieves exponentially better results because they're fully engaged. This is the difference between practice and deliberate practice. Deliberate practice involves focused, goal-driven effort with constant self-correction. It's not mindless repetition. It's intentional improvement. A musician playing the same song for hours isn't necessarily improving. But a musician dissecting each measure, isolating weaknesses and drilling them until they're mastered, that's how greatness is built. One of the biggest traps high potential people fall into is relying on praise. If you've been told you're talented your whole life, you might subconsciously avoid challenges that could disprove that label. This creates a fixed mindset, the belief that ability is static. In contrast, a growth mindset thrives on challenge because it views skills as developable. The moment you believe you're naturally good at something is the moment you stop growing. True competitors don't care about protecting their image. They care about progress. It wouldn't look foolish in the short term if it means getting better in the long term. This is why work ethic beats. There's someone right now with half your natural ability who's outworking you, and they'll eventually outperform you unless you shift gears. The good news? Effort is the one variable you completely control. You can't choose your genetics, your upbringing, or lucky breaks, but you can choose to grind when others quit. That's an unfair advantage in a world where most people are looking for shortcuts. To outwork your potential, you must first redefine your limits. Humans are capable of far more than we realize, but we're conditioned to stop at the first sign of resistance. Physical endurance provides a clear example. When runners hit the wall, their brain signals exhaustion long before their body is actually depleted. It's a survival mechanism, not a true limit. The same applies mentally. That feeling of I can't go on is often just a starting line for growth. Navy SEALs have a saying, when your mind is telling you you're done, you're really only 40% done. Pushing past that 40% point is where transformation happens. Of course, sustained effort requires fuel. You can't pour from an empty cup. That's why top performers prioritize recovery as seriously as they do work. Sleep, nutrition, and mental health aren't luxuries. They're performance enhancers. The grind at all costs mentality backfires because burnout destroys consistency. External competition can motivate, but internal competition, the drive to be better today than you were yesterday, is what sustains long-term growth. Keep a personal best mindset. Whether it's lifting heavier weights, making more sales calls, or shaving seconds off your run time, small self-improvements compound into massive gains. There will inevitably be naysayers, people who call your dedication extreme or unnecessary. They'll say you're missing out on life by working so hard. But here's the truth. What looks like obsession to others is often fulfillment to you. Passionate people don't feel deprived when they're working toward their purpose. They feel alive. The real misery comes from not pursuing your potential, from wondering what if years later. Financial expert Warren Buffett says, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. This applies to work ethic too. The habit of consistent effort, once ingrained, becomes second nature. What once felt like grinding eventually feels like living. That's when you know you've rewired yourself. Ultimately, outworking your potential comes down to ownership. No one is coming to hand you success. No coach, teacher, or mentor can want it more than you do. The moment you take full responsibility for your growth, your setbacks, and your daily choices is the moment you unlock a next level performance. So audit your effort. Are you coasting on talent? Are you working as hard as someone with half your advantages would? Remember, potential is a starting point, not a destination. The world is run by those who show up day after day, year after year, long after the talented have gone home. Be that person. Because when talent sleeps, hard work wakes up and wins. The modern world is waging a silent war against your attention. Every ping, notification, and trending topic is meticulously engineered to hijack your focus. Social media platforms employ teams of neuroscientists to make their apps addictive. News outlets thrive on sensationalism designed to trigger emotional reactions. Even well-meaning friends and family can become unwitting accomplices in derailing your productivity with quick requests that snowball into hours of lost time. In this environment, the ability to eliminate distractions isn't just helpful, it's a superpower that separates achieved from the perpetually scattered. Distractions come in two forms, external and internal. External distractions are the obvious ones, your phone buzzing, coworkers stopping by your desk, the television blaring in the background. These are relatively easy to identify, but require deliberate systems to overcome. Internal distractions are more insidious. The wandering thoughts, the self-doubt, the sudden urge to reorganize your desk when you should be working on that important project. Both types are equally destructive to deep work, that state of flow where real progress happens. The first step in reclaiming your focus is conducting an honest audit of your daily interruptions. For 1 week, carry a notebook and jot down every time something pulls you away from meaningful work. You'll likely discover patterns, certain times of day when you're vulnerable, specific apps that consume disproportionate attention, or emotional states that make you more susceptible to diversion. This awareness alone can be transformative. Most people don't realize how often they're interrupted because they've normalized the chaos. Armed with this knowledge, you can begin creating distraction-free zones in your life. Start with your physical environment. Research shows that simply having your phone visible, even if it's face down, reduces cognitive capacity. Your brain expends energy resisting the temptation to check it. The solution, when focus is critical, put your phone in another room. Use website blockers to prevent mindless scrolling during work hours. Create a workspace that signals to others and yourself that you're not to be disturbed. Whether that's a closed door, noise-canceling headphones, or a physical do not disturb sign, time management is equally crucial. The myth of multitasking has been thoroughly debunked. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task serving, which can reduce productivity by up to 40%. Instead, batch similar tasks together and assign them specific time blocks. Check emails only at predetermined intervals rather than throughout the day. Schedule social media for a narrow window rather than allowing it to infiltrate every spare moment. These structural changes prevent the decision fatigue that makes us vulnerable to distraction. Internal distractions require different tactics. That nagging thought about unpaid bills or an upcoming appointment won't disappear through willpower alone. Implement a brain dump practice. Keep a notepad where you can quickly jot down intrusive thoughts to address later. This technique reassures your mind that the thought won't be forgotten, freeing you to refocus. Meditation is another powerful tool for taming the wandering mind. Even 5 minutes of daily practice can strengthen your ability to notice distractions without acting on them. Technology deserves special attention because it's both our greatest tool and our biggest obstacle. The same devices that enable remote work and instant communication also breed compulsive checking behaviors. Turn off non-essential notifications. If something is truly urgent, people will call. Use grayscale mode on your phone to make apps less visually stimulating. Designate one device, like a tablet, for leisure browsing so your work computer remains associated with focused productivity. These small tweaks can significantly reduce digital temptation. Other people in your life can unintentionally become sources of distraction unless you set clear boundaries. Well-meaning colleagues who drop by for quick chats, family members who assume working from home means you're available for errands. These interruptions fragment your concentration. Polite but firm communication is key. Try phrases like, "I'd love to help. Can we schedule a time later today?" Or, "I'm in the middle of something important. Can I get back to you at 3 p.m.? Most people will respect your time if you demonstrate that you respect it first. Your energy levels also play a significant role in susceptibility to distractions. Willpower is a finite resource that depletes throughout the day. Schedule your most demanding tasks for when you're naturally most alert. For many people, this is morning. Save routine tasks for your lower energy periods. Proper nutrition, hydration, and regular movement breaks also help maintain mental clarity. That meta-active urge to scroll mindlessly often signals fatigue rather than actual interest in your phone's content. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of focus is its emotional component. We often allow distractions because the work feels uncomfortable, it's challenging, uncertain, or stirs up insecurities. Checking email or cleaning your workspace provides the illusion of productivity while helping you avoid the real work. Recognize this avoidance for what it is and develop strategies to push through. Set a timer for 25 minutes of uninterrupted work, followed by a 5-minute break. The Pomodoro technique. Often, starting is the hardest part. Once engaged, focus becomes easier. The rewards of eliminating distractions extend far beyond productivity. Deep focus is where creativity flourishes, where complex problems find solutions, and where true mastery develops. Newport, author of Deep Work, argues that the ability to concentrate without distraction is becoming increasingly rare and therefore increasingly valuable in our economy. Those who cultivate this skill will outperform their scattered peers, not by working more hours, but by making each hour count. Implementing these changes won't be easy at first. You'll feel withdrawal from constant stimulation, and your mind will rebel against the unfamiliar stillness. But with consistent practice, you'll retrain your brain to crave focus rather than flee from it. You'll discover that what initially felt like deprivation, missing out on the latest viral trend or group chat, was actually liberation. The time and mental space you reclaim become the foundation for achieving what truly matters to you. In a culture that glorifies busyness while discouraging depth, choosing focus is revolutionary. It's a quiet rebellion against the forces trying to commodify your attention. When you eliminate distractions, you're not just optimizing your schedule, you're reclaiming your mind, your potential, and ultimately your life. The path to extraordinary results isn't about doing more things. It's about doing fewer things better. And that begins with guarding your attention like the precious resource it is. Because in the end, where your attention goes, your life follows. Distractions don't just steal your time, they steal your future. The choice is yours. Will you continue to let the world dictate where your focus goes? Or will you take deliberate control and direct it toward what truly matters? The quality of your work, your relationships, and your very experience of living hangs in the balance. The most underrated habit of high performance isn't what they do during the day, it's what they do at the end of it. Reflection is the silent engine of growth, the process that transforms experience into wisdom. Without it, we risk repeating the same mistakes while wondering why nothing changes. With it, we extract every ounce of value from our efforts, accelerating our progress exponentially. This practice isn't about self-judgment, it's about strategic self-awareness. When you make reflection a non-negotiable part of your routine, you stop living on autopilot and start consciously designing your improvement. Consider two people with identical skills and work ethics. One charges forward without looking back, while the other dedicates 15 minutes each evening to review their day. Within months, the second person will have pulled ahead significantly. Why? Because they're not just accumulating experiences. They're actively learning from them. They spot patterns in their behavior, identify what's working, and course correct what isn't. This creates a feedback loop where each day builds smarter upon the last. The ancient Stoics practice evening reflection. Military leaders conduct after-action reviews, and elite athletes study game footage. There's a reason this discipline transcends time and fields. Effective reflection begins with asking quality questions. How did I spend my time today? It's decent, but did my activities today align with my top priorities? Cuts deeper. What went wrong? Might surface problems, but what early signs did I miss that could have prevented this? Develops foresight. The questions you ask yourself determine the quality of insights you uncover. Some powerful ones include, where did I excel today? Where did I hold myself back? What assumptions did I make that proved incorrect? If I could relive this day, what would I do differently? These prompts move you beyond surface level accounting into meaningful analysis. Journaling supercharges this process. The act of writing enforces clarity. It's harder to gloss over uncomfortable truths when they're staring back at you in ink. Don't mistake this for diary-style rambling. Strategic journaling focuses on extracting actionable lessons. Record not just what happened, but why it happened and how you responded. Over time, these entries become a treasure trove of personal data, revealing your unique productivity rhythms, decision-making tendencies, and growth opportunities. The most successful people treat their journals like laboratories, places to experiment with different approaches and document the results. Equally important is celebrating wins, no matter how small. Our brains have a negativity bias. We remember failures more vividly than successes unless we consciously counterbalance it. Acknowledging daily victories trains your mind to recognize progress, building motivation and confidence. Did you handle a difficult conversation well? Resist an unhealthy temptation? Make progress on a long-term project? These all count. The key is specificity. Instead of, I had a good day, note, I finished the proposal draft despite interruptions. Or, I remained patient when the technology failed. This granular appreciation creates momentum. Of course, reflection without adjustment is just navel gazing. The magic happens when insights translate into changed behavior. This requires brutal honesty about what needs to change, not just in your actions, but sometimes in your environment, relationships, or even fundamental beliefs. Maybe you realize you're most productive before noon, so you shift important work to mornings. Perhaps you notice certain people consistently drain your energy, prompting boundary adjustments. These realizations only matter if they lead to action. That's why the reflection process should always end with planning the next day's priorities based on what you've learned. Technology can enhance this practice when used intentionally. Apps that track time usage provide objective data to compare against your subjective experience. You might feel you worked solidly on a project only to discover you actually spent just 90 minutes of focused time across 8 hours. Digital journals with search functions help spot long-term patterns, like realizing your most creative periods follow certain types of exercise. Even simple tools like calendar, color coding can reveal imbalances in how you're allocating your life's most finite resource, time. The emotional component of reflection deserves special attention. It's easy to slip into self-criticism during reviews, especially for high achievers. But berating yourself for shortcomings is counterproductive. It triggers avoidance rather than improvement. Instead, adopt a scientist mindset. Observations without judgment. When you notice a mistake or missed opportunity, ask what conditions led to this, rather than why am I so lazy? This neutral framing makes it easier to address root causes. If you consistently skip workouts, explore whether it's a scheduling issue, energy management problem, or lack of enjoyment in your current routine. Solutions emerge when you approach yourself with curiosity rather than condemnation. Weekly and monthly reviews add another layer of perspective. While daily reflection catches immediate adjustments, longer intervals reveal bigger patterns. Set aside time each week to examine your journal entries for recurring themes. Monthly reviews can assess progress toward larger goals, prompting necessary pivots before too much time passes. These regular checkpoints prevent the common tragedy of realizing months too late that you've been climbing the wrong ladder. The benefits of this practice compound dramatically over time. At first, you might notice simple productivity hacks, that you work better after a morning walk, or that social media browsing makes you anxious rather than relaxed. Deeper layers emerge with consistency. Perhaps you recognize a tendency to procrastinate on tasks tied to self-worth, or that your best ideas come when you allow for unstructured thinking time. These personal insights are gold. They help you design a life that works with your nature rather than against it. Leaders who maintain this discipline develop what psychologist Carl Waite call wisdom in the present. They can assess situations more accurately, make better decisions under pressure, and adapt more quickly to change because they've trained themselves to learn from every experience. This creates a powerful advantage in our rapidly changing world, where the ability to unlearn and relearn often matters more than initial expertise. Implementing this practice requires overcoming two main obstacles. First is the illusion of busyness, the belief that you don't have time to pause when in reality, you can't afford not to. Even 5 minutes of reflection yields benefits disproportionate to the time invested. Second is discomfort with self-examination. Many people subconsciously avoid looking too closely at their lives because it might reveal necessary but difficult changes. The solution to both is starting small and building the habit gradually. Ultimately, daily reflection is how you take authorship of your life rather than remaining a passive character in it. Each evening's review is a quiet revolution against the forces that would have you sleepwalk through your day. Consistently reflect and adjust. You stop being at the mercy of circumstances and start creating your circumstances. You become the sculptor of your habits rather than their sculpture. The unexamined life, Socrates warned, isn't worth living, but the examined life, where each day's experiences become fuel for the next day's growth, that's where true mastery lies. In those quiet moments of honest review, you're not just accounting for time spent, you're ensuring that time spent you wisely. That's how ordinary days become extraordinary years and how potential transforms into legacy. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Success isn't about doing more things right. It's about doing fewer things wrong. And you only discover what those things are by stopping long enough to look. As we bring this journey to a close, remember that winning the day isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up fully, engaging completely, and extracting every ounce of value from the 24 hours we're all given equally. And the 5 keys we've explored: mastering your morning, valuing small wins, outworking your potential, eliminating distractions, and reflecting to adjust, aren't separate strategies, but interconnected parts of a powerful system for excellence. When you string these practices together consistently, something remarkable happens. Ordinary days compound into extraordinary results. You'll look up one day and realize the life you've created is the one you once only imagined. But that transformation won't come from a single heroic effort. It will come from the quiet dignity of daily discipline, from choosing focus over frenzy and progress over procrastination day after day. The world will try to pull you in countless directions to dilute your attention and energy across trivial pursuits. Your job is to stay true to what matters, to protect your time like the sacred gift it is, and to remember that today, this very day, is the only day you can actually win. Yesterday's already gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. But today is your masterpiece in progress. So when you wake tomorrow, rise with intention, approach each hour with purpose. And when evening comes, reflect, not with regret, but with reverence for the opportunity to try again. This is how champions are made, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of preparation, not through luck, but through relentless daily betterment. The person you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of these disciplined days. Now go meet them. The sun will rise again tomorrow, bringing with it a fresh chance to win the day. Will you be ready? The answer lies not in your words, but in your actions when that alarm sounds. This is your moment. This is your life. Win it one day at a time.